We're in the home stretch now, people.
Way so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Hope you're doing well. Really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Back at the desk today. Lots of stuff to get into. I'm going to present it to you and react accordingly. Today we're discussing Romelu Lukaku finally leaving our club. It looks like, of course, we've also speculated recently, could it be that he is the solution to our senior striker problems? Probably not. We're also going to talk about a decision being made on Mauricio Pochettino, which actually leads really nicely into the big story of Chelsea have paid, or were the club that paid for Amorim's visit to London. Not West Ham. It was Bowley and Clearlake who flew him over. Of course, we'll reflect on that story from Sport Witness. I'll also tell you my updated and hopefully calibrated opinion on the managerial situation. And then, interestingly, we're going to end on talks about Xavi Simons, of course, PSG central midfielder, attacking midfielder. We've got plenty of those already, haven't we? At Leipzig on loan from PSG. His profile, a very exciting, great player, actually. And you can make your decision on whether this guy is good for Chelsea. So, thanks for joining me. Do consider supporting the content. Look at my mug. Two good mugs here. This one. And this one. Yeah, thanks guys for liking and subscribing. We're going to use a couple of Twitter tweets. It's not even called Twitter anymore, Jan. But a couple of posts on X. How lame is that? Elon, what are you thinking, mate? Anyway, let's have a look. Blue Footies aggregating news from Ben Jacobs saying this, quote, Al Hilal have other options in mind now. Of course, this is for Romelu Lukaku transfer. But several Saudi clubs still keen. Al Shabab and soon to be promoted Al Qadsia have discussed Romelu Lukaku internally. Well, there's the like and subscribe widget again, just to remind you. First of all, the Saudis, they clearly just want Lukaku. Lukaku would still be a great get. There will be two high-profile acquisitions for the Saudi Pro League in the summer. One will almost certainly be their sort of magnum opus signing of late that they've wanted to sign. Obviously, they would have loved to have signed like Mbappe or something in his prime, or Jude Bellingham, but they're not going to do that. They won't be able to do that. But they want Mohamed Salah, of course. One of the highest, if not, well, one of the highest profile Muslim footballers. Of course, they've got Karim Benzema and N'Golo Kante out there. But yeah, they'd love to get Salah. They already tried to sign him, I think to the point where he was actually agreeing to go over there and play for the serious amount of money. Of course, Klopp's leaving. Salah's out of form. He's arguing with Klopp on the touchlines. I think Salah is going to go to Saudi in the summer. Just my opinion, my guess. I think that's going to happen. But they would also like Lukaku. Of course, Lukaku's not like banging in loads of goals in the Premier League, but he's still scoring at a decent rate. He's scoring loads for his country, Belgium, which is great for the optics of the Saudi Pro League. He's Belgium's top goal scorer. He was the top goal scorer in the Euro qualifying, I believe. He scored loads of goals. And like Salah, he's like 30 or 31 or something. So it's not like signing a 35-year-old Benzema or whatever. It's you get a few years out of them. Do you know what I mean? He didn't want to go. I think if he can't get a move to Roma, there's only so many Italian clubs he can go to that he'll still... I mean, he's not going to go to Milan. He obviously can't go back to Inter, or you certainly can't go to Juventus now. And if Roma don't want to buy him, I don't know how he's going to fit into like an Atalanta model or something like that. So, probably off to Saudi. I mean, Todd Bowley was recently over in Saudi Arabia having discussions. He was probably going, will you buy Romelu for us, please? That's certainly what I'd be doing. Yeah. So Romelu Lukaku, still Saudi on the cards. Will he take the bag? And like I've said before, Lukaku is one of these players, slightly more rare instances that, I was saying yesterday that I feel like it's because Sterling has been dropped by England, and even though he's still in his 20s, his England career is seemingly over, sadly, for him, unless Gareth Southgate leaves after the Euros, a new manager comes in and goes, actually, can I have Sterling, because he'll work well in this sort of Man City style system I want to play. It could happen, but maybe for the moment Sterling thinks my England career is over. I might as well just take the bag at Saudi. I've won loads of Premier Leagues, etc. And I'm not going to win the Champions League at Chelsea anytime soon while I'm still young. So maybe he thinks Saudi. You flip that, Lukaku probably thinks, well, I ain't getting dropped by Belgium no matter what. I'm their all-time top goal scorer. I link up really well with Doku, De Bruyne, the rest of the gang. I ain't going anywhere. He's one of those players that even if he goes to Saudi Arabia, he'll still get called up by Belgium because it's not like Batshuayi is banging on the door to take his number one, space. So he'll probably feel quite safe in doing so. Let me know what you think about Lukaku. Let's move on and talk about Poch. So CFC PYS tweeting this. Dubai in the comments, quite happy about it. Decision on Pochettino will be made on the last week of May. This is confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. Caught offside, his column. Yes, I mean, this is just reiterating what we already know, but it leads into the next story nicely. There is going to be a analysis of Pochettino's whole body of work from this season. The good, the bad, the nearly moments, the unlucky decisions against him, the injury problems, and also the general holistic underperformance of Chelsea Football Club, which will largely be put at the manager's door. Or in his hands? It's something to do with the manager. He kind of rightly highlighted in his press conference that, look, it's not just me. We all need to take accountability for this season and we need to prove we can be here next season. As in, the players as well as the manager, which is fair play. I kind of dig that. He's right. Stand up for yourself. A lot of these kids maybe shouldn't be here or couldn't be here or are yet to prove why they should be here. But Chelsea, understandably, as they languish in mid-table for the second consecutive, easy for me to say, second consecutive season, despite having a lot of good talent. But yes, I do concede we are massively short. And if you want to know how short I think we are, or short in key areas, watch my previous video from yesterday where, of course, I reflect on the Thiago Silva goodbye video, very emotional. But I also talk about who we need to buy to be a good team. We are short still in areas, so do watch that video. But ultimately, we've got quality as well. And should that quality be higher, then where are we? I'm just guessing we're ninth. Are we ninth? We should be higher than that. So maybe a new manager will be hired. Which brings me on to a very, very interesting story. Insistence Chelsea have paid for manager to fly to London. The Blues moving in the shadows. This is, of course, Sport Witness, written by Sean Lunt. Sporting Club de Portugal manager Ruben Amorim's recent trip to London was paid for by Chelsea, not West Ham. Of course, it was all around the newspapers. Amorim's going to be the new West Ham. How the hell are West Ham going to get Ruben Amorim? What? He's supposed to be the Liverpool manager. What's going on with West Ham? But this is according to journalist Pedro Sepulveda, who says it was actually Chelsea who brought him over for discussions, but he did come out and say, something about West Ham. Largely that he's not interested, but maybe he's just keeping it stum and was like, yeah, just let them think it's West Ham, I don't know. Maybe he still spoke to West Ham, but Chelsea the ones who brought him over, yeah, come over, come and see us. If you want to speak to West Ham for lols, for YOLOs, go and chat to them, but really, you're here to chat to us and we're paying for it. Amorim travelled to England last week and caused quite the media stir when he did so, particularly as it appeared West Ham were making a surprise move for him and beating Liverpool to his signature. Yeah, this didn't prove to be the case though, as the Reds decided to go for Arne Slot instead, and West Ham didn't commit to anything either. And by the way, we spoke to Slot, he's a viable top level manager at the moment, do you know what I mean? Indeed, the whole move appears to have backfired on the Portuguese coach, who has since apologised for his actions and insisted he's fully focused on Sporting. That belief was that West Ham had brought him over to discuss replacing David Moyes at the end of the season and was paid to do so, but this guy says otherwise. According to his information, it was Chelsea that paid for the flight on April the 22nd, and Amorim met with more members of the board to boot. He states that Maurizio Pochettino will probably leave Chelsea at the end of the season, and the sporting boss has been lined up to replace him if he does. He adds that Amorim's deal with Liverpool collapsed, and the talk with West Ham paying for the flight is fake. It's a bold claim from this guy, who is the only one reporting this at the moment, and he's insistent, this guy, that Chelsea are in front of the queue for the Portuguese manager. On the face of it, it's a move that could make sense given his experience in developing young talent, but it's highly debatable why Chelsea would pay for the flight, then allow him to meet other clubs at the same time. Maybe it's a gesture, like this is chump change for these guys. Perhaps they were simply using the Hammers as a smokescreen. That's what I think. 4D chess, MFers. But that's the kind of smart thinking in Todd Bowley and co. Absolutely haven't shown since taking charge at Stamford Bridge. All right, well, let's talk about this. Chelsea have spoken to Ruben Amorim before. In fact, before Klopp announced he was leaving, before this inquiry of West Ham, before whatever, Chelsea had already spoken to Amorim about potentially becoming the Chelsea manager before Pochettino had. So they've got a long-standing relationship with him, or an already implemented relationship with the Portuguese manager. And they will probably just say, look, mate, probably get him to town, go and see West Ham, or we'll make that up or whatever, and then come and have a meeting, and they're probably like, look, you see what's going on here? This ain't good, bruv. Can you be better? Now, I have reservations here. Of course, I've referenced it on the channel. The Euro expert, Alex from The Athletic, the young football analyst, did a video, did an actual whole video segment on why Amorim wouldn't work at Chelsea. And everyone believes him because he did the similar thing with Maurizio Pochettino, and why that wouldn't work at Chelsea and why Chelsea would concede loads of goals under him. Well, he's looking like a ruddy prophet so far. so everyone's jumped on that, like, oh my God, he's doing it again. He's let's not make the same mistake again. He's categorically explaining why Ruben Amorim's football would not work at Chelsea and would expose our midfield massively. That's already been massively exposed. So, yeah, I mean, if I value that, I don't know much about this kid. I know he works for The Athletic. I kind of think he's probably got a good, educated footballing opinion. More so than the Chelsea footballing directors. Sadly, probably. which can only make you despair. Look, Amorim's a good coach. He's young. He's super young. He's still in his 30s. And, he plays a back three, which Chelsea fans have a good recent memory of. The last teams managed to play back three. I know Potter and Lampard did a little bit, but they weren't dogmatic with it. Was Tuchel and Conte. And Conte won the Premier League and Tuchel won the Champions League. So Chelsea fans have a good relationship with the back three formation. And we do have good young centre backs. We could have, Colwell on the left of a three. We could have someone in the middle. Fafana on the right. Give Chalobah in the middle. Fafana on the right. Should you keep Chalobah? We've got Champions League winning wing backs. Malo Gusto would be an excellent wing back as well as Reece James. And then the double pivot. It would be Caicedo plus one more, and then the front three doesn't really matter. I actually think the right side of the attacker in a front three of a 3-4-3 is literally the perfect role for Cole Palmer, because he likes to occupy the literal half space between the number 10 and a right wing. And because you've got a right wing back, the right side of the attacker is like a right number 10, like where Mason Mount used to play. It kind of suits him down to a T. Although I speculated, and I will speculate again, that moving forwards with a more solid system, whether that's Pochettino sorting it out or that's a new manager, I don't think Palmer's going to do as well. I think he'll get better as a player and he'll get systemically coached better and press and defend better, but I don't think he's going to be free scoring and assisting as much, which would probably prove to be a good thing for the Chelsea team as a whole, because it means we're spreading around the threat and defending better and whatnot. Yes, so Ruben Amorim, huge reservations, but what the ruddy heck do I know? Many people watching this will just be categorically Pochettino out, so a new manager, they'll be excited about the idea. It's positive due diligence regardless from the Chelsea ownership. They need to do this, to be sure. And, who the ruddy heck else is there? I don't want De Zerbi. De Zerbi's team's getting touched up every single weekend. Like, every weekend. They just lost 3-0 to Bournemouth. Nah, I just don't want De Zerbi. I feel like, there's so much fun. I know I do have a little bit of sympathy for him because he literally lost his midfield in McAllister and Caicedo that he did so well with. So I kind of do have sympathy there, but like at the same time, he's just not the one for me. And then who else is there? Do you know what I mean? I feel like Galactico Whisperers will be a disaster, like a Zidane. I think all of that is not going to work. So let me know what you think. Ruben Amorim to Chelsea. If Pochettino doesn't... What's Pochettino's target now? Like, say at the moment, if the season ended now, he'd probably get sacked. But what's he got to do? And maybe many of you might think that's wrong, by the way. But what's he got to do to make it like... How many games we got? 5 games, I think. 3 wins and 2 draws. Like 11 extra points or something. I don't really know. And then also like don't concede ridiculous amounts of goals constantly. And then they'll be like, right, have one more crack. And Kunku's back. We bought you a goalkeeper. Reece James is back. Lavia's back. Don't mess this up. I know, but like, giving people like, I don't know, like courtesy seasons doesn't feel the greatest. Anyway, let me know what you think about the manager situation. Let's talk about Xavi Simons. Ooh. Here we go. From Court Offside, Mark Bruss. I want to say Pru, like French or Belgium or something. Transfer news expert Fabrizio Romano has responded to the Xavi Simons Chelsea transfer rumours, saying that talks will take place soon to determine what the young midfielder will do next season. Speaking exclusively to Offside, for the latest edition of his briefing column, Romano made it clear that PSG would ultimately decide on his next move, though it seems like his loan at RB Leipzig, they were keen for him another year. Of course, he's been excellent for them. We'll look at that in just a moment. But PSG are like quietly better, now under Luis Enrique. Do they need him to come back? And like they seem like they've sorted themselves out a little bit. It seems there isn't much to the links with Chelsea for now, with Romano not delving into it too much. But he hasn't put it down. He hasn't said that. Sometimes he says the talks are nonsense. There's no talks there. But he hasn't said that about Chelsea. Transfer link, but could he return to Leipzig for another loan? Despite the links with Chelsea, he said. So he's not saying there's no links. He's saying despite those links, PSG will decide on his future at the end of the season. Nothing is concrete yet, I'm told. PSG, they'd love to keep Xavi on loan for another year, but it's up to PSG now. Todd Bowley comes into town with more magical money that he pulls out of his behind. Like, somehow we've got this to spend despite all the PSR rules. They might go, okay. So let's just look at this kid. Right, here he is. Xavi Simons, he's 21 years old, so he suits the like weird kindergarten like project. Of course, he's Dutch from the Netherlands. He's an attacking midfielder. This season, very, very impressive in the Bundesliga. 30 appearances and 20 goal involvements from attacking midfield. That's very, very impressive, one must say. Obviously, he's versatile. Left wing, right wing, but his main position here is attacking midfield, which you'd have to say is the Conor Gallagher position. So I've very much nailed my colours to the mast here. I think systemically, I think Carney Chukwuemeka deserves a chance there. He's very, very good, Chukwuemeka. Just give these kids a chance, But if they're thinking, look, Cassaday's going to go on loan, Chukwuemeka's going to go on loan, Gallagher's going to get sold for pure profit. Yes, I know, we'll riot when it's appropriate. And Palmer's going to play on the right, and I was a number 10. Maybe we need a sort of attacking, creative midfielder. I mean, 13 league assists is bloody wicked. If you ask me, just checking his Champions League. His Champions League numbers as well. 2 goals, 2 assists. Good. Very good. Yeah, he's obviously a baller. It's just he'll cost a lot of money, and we've got players there. I know we've got a lot of wide attacking players like Angelo and Hutchison and all these other players. Maybe Chelsea feel that they need more just in the centre. Like, Gallagher's great, but maybe he's certainly not a 13 league assist player, but Gallagher's, I don't know, maybe Gallagher needs to play deeper, and they do want to buy an attacking number 10. Anyway, it's an interesting story. I wanted to bring it all to you today with the Lukaku, the Amorim, the Pochettino. So let me know what you think. As always, comment down below. Very keen and pleased to read your comments. Thank you for liking the video. That's really helpful, and subscribing. And I hope to see you back here very soon.